Testing 1 2 3. This is a test. Testing 1 2 3. This is a test. Testing. This is an audio test to test the quality. This is an audio test to test the quality. Testing. Alright. If everything is going well, we should be live and my voice should be 100% clear. I'm going to check on my end and see if that is the case. My voice should be 100%. Yep, it looks like it. So from what I can tell, I should be 100% clear. If anyone is in chat, please feel free to let me know how I sound audio-wise. We don't have to worry about any game or nothing today because I've made a decision that I'm not going to stream a game tonight. I don't really think I'm in the mood for that. Like, not only just because of this BS of setting up this stream, but I'm just not in the mood. Mygo. Hello there, Mygo. Mygo says good evening. Welcome. Good to see you, Mygo. Very happy to have you. But, okay, I guess I can start this off with my little rant. So, XSplit, buddy, pal, I'm gonna need to know what was going on there. Because, like, I go to my usual setup. Like, I've had zero issues with this XSplit setup that I've had. Like, usually I just kind of turn it on, I get everything in place, and I can just turn it on in a snap, and I have no issues. But for some reason this time, like, the stream kept terminating itself, and it also had the target server wrong. So I'm like, what's going on here? Like, did I get hacked? Did XSplit, like, update and mess something up? I don't know. That's something I gotta investigate immediately. Immediately after this stream. It's a whole hot mess, but first time streamer, monetary hello. That's a bot, isn't it? Look here, buddy. I don't deal with bot comments. I only take real comments here, so I'm gonna need you to skedaddle. If you're a real person, that's great. Welcome to the stream. But if you're a bot, I'm gonna need you to skedaddle. Alright. Anyone else in chat today? Anyone else? Whew, I've had an interesting last few days. I will tell you that much. Very interesting last few days. But I'm not going to really talk about that right now. What do I even want to start this with? Okay, so let's start this with, I guess I could start this with the channel update, but there's something else I want to talk about first. But I want to make sure. I want to see who else is going to show up to the stream. I imagine not many people because this stream started super late. I did not intend for this stream to start super late. So for anyone who's cared to tune in, welcome and thank you for tuning in. Again, to catch y'all up, in case y'all don't know, if anyone new is coming into this stream, I'm not streaming any gameplay tonight. This is strictly going to be a chat stream. And we're mainly going to talk about a select few topics and that come to mind, but so it won't be a very entertaining stream. I'm probably not going to re-upload this one on YouTube because I don't think it'll have anything that interesting really to go for. And if you're worried to like, oh, like how am I going to hear your thoughts on, say, Sonic Superstars or Mario Wonder, don't worry, those will get videos in due time, hopefully. Like, if not fully edited videos, I'll definitely try and put a little quick something together to try and get my thoughts out on those games. But alright, so where do we start? Whew, so much I could say right now. Okay, I have to choose my next words very, 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 very carefully. I'm thinking about this. Okay, I guess first thing I'll say is I guess first thing I'll say is my hearts go out to those who are suffering from attacks in the Middle East right now, or in Gaza, I think, or whatever is going on over there. Like, if you're going through that, heart is with you. Like I know some people have been like saying like, oh, if you're ignoring that, you're just ignoring the people. But no, I am fully aware of that stuff, and I'm fully supportive of it. Like, it's just sad, man. Like, I hate seeing the world, constantly have issues like this, and I don't get what brings such hatred out of people, but it's a larger discussion that I don't think I'll be able to cover tonight, really. But I just wanted to acknowledge that in this stream. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and play oblivious to that stuff. But anyway, maybe I'll talk more about that later, but for now, I guess we can get into our main topics, which, man, I'm so like just drained from like the XSplit thing, because that really ticked me off. Like, this stream should have been going a few minutes ago, but then I got interrupted by something, had to use the bathroom, so okay, that's fine, that's one thing. But then, like, the XSplit stuff happened, and it's like, gosh, this stream is so late. So again, I apologize to anyone who was waiting for that, but now we can get into today's topic. So what am I going to talk about first? Alright. So the first thing I want to talk about is a little channel update, and let me make sure this is going up on the stream manager, because it usually takes a minute. Okay, there it goes, it's up. Alright, so first thing I want to talk about is a little channel update. Where on earth have I been? I haven't uploaded in 3 weeks, I think it is. And the reason for that is because in the shadows, I have been playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Sonic Superstars. That's right, Sonic and Mario, or Mario and Sonic's new 2D adventures. I've been playing in the shadows, and I've been just casually breezing through those games, trying not to rush myself, because when I play new installments for those series, I tend to take my time. I don't rush through those games, but I know people are probably very interested in what my thoughts could be on those games, and so as a result, like, I do have to get to it eventually, but I'm taking my time because I like to take my time when I play a new Mario game, a new Sonic game, any game for really my favorite series, my top favorite series. So that's partially why I've been gone. Another reason I've been gone is I specifically been working on the NCU project. If you recall, there's a Nintendo Cinematic Universe project I'm working on, and it is very big. Like, I have a lot of ideas that I want to get off my chest for this project. But over time, as I worked on the project, I started to realize that maybe I'm getting a bit too ambitious with it. So I got to a point where I considered like restarting from scratch and like tackling it in a different way. And I came up with this new script that I could possibly follow. But then I realized, okay, if I try to script out this entire outline that I'm trying to explain, then this video is never freaking getting done, because at the rate that was going, it was not only taking forever, but the script was getting long, bro. The script was getting way too long. And I was like, dang, like, that is a way too long script. I have to cut down my words significantly. So I decided to revitalize that project by basically condensing like that script, the overall outline script, and condensing it into bullet points that I talk about throughout the video. So the final state of the video will not be as clean and tight as what I originally planned, but it's not going to be completely terrible, because what I've done is I've edited it, my little ramble on the outline, so that way it's a little more condensed and at least a little more bearable. So the final video is probably going to be very, very long. It's going to be ridiculously long, but the final video is going to be ridiculously long, but just keep in mind that what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh my goodness. Okay, but just keep in mind though that I'm cooking the video. It'll be decently entertaining. You'll get a good idea of what my vision for a Nintendo Cinematic Universe is, so look forward to that. And I do apologize for being on hiatus because of this video, because of playing through other games. Like, I just have so much I need to catch up on, and I've just been taking my time. Like, I want to rush through this so I could get it out as soon as possible. Like, literally everyone else on YouTube, but I realize if I do that, it's just not gonna be fun for me. Like I really like to take things at my own pace so that it can be enjoyable for me. That's the whole reason I do YouTube, because I enjoy it legitimately. I don't want to take that away. So yeah, I apologize for that. But just know, hopefully in due time, I should be wrapped up with Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I should be wrapped up with Sonic Superstars, and I should be able to get videos on all that stuff out in due time. I just ask for y'all's patience, and I do thank y'all for those who have stuck around with me through all my little delays and me taking my sweet time. So yeah, thank you. I really appreciate y'all. Ghani in chat says, "What's good, Nux? Just got back from work, playing some Manhunt 2. Good to see you, Ghani. It's always nice to have you in these streams. Really appreciate it." And if anyone else is in the chat, feel free to say hello as well. But yeah, I just went over the channel update. Is it TLDR or is it TD? I think it's TL. Too long, didn't read, so it's TLDR. So TLDR, the channel update is that I'm working on this big NCU project, and that's where a lot of my video making power is right now, but I'm trying to spread it out so that I can get y'all the Mario Wonder review, a Sonic Superstars review, and all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, do look forward to that. Kirby SSU 2003 says, "Yeah, I made it. If I had to guess, is that my boy from Twitter? If I had to guess, is that my homie? Jameson? Okay, so maybe it is you. Alright, if that is you, Jameson, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you here. And nah, man, your name is pretty charming. I recognize it. It makes sense to me. But it's really good to have you on the stream, man. If that is you, Jamerson. I might be making a mistake. If I'm making a mistake, I apologize. But let me take this off screen now since the channel update is done. So what do we move on to next? That's the question. So we have two other subjects I want to talk about on this stream. I want to talk about the FNAF movie, because oh boy, I have some thoughts on that. And then I want to give some impressions on Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars. Not a review, not a full review, because I haven't fully completed the games yet. I've beaten the main story mode with Sonic Superstars, but I have not beaten the story mode with Mario Wonder, so I don't want spoilers for that. And I haven't 100% Sonic Superstars, so no spoilers for whatever the true final boss of that game is. So I'll put it on screen when we get to those subjects, but just keep that in mind, y'all. Like, I'm not going to be super ban heavy about it, especially if you're like not doing it intentionally, but I do want to say that you know, if you're free to engage in that conversation, but just keep in mind whatever I put on screen as the spoiler warning. Mama Luigi 9000 says, "Hi, hey, hello, how's it going, my dude?" Is that you, Jay? Is that you who's Mama Luigi 9000? If that is you, it's good to see you, my man. I'm like just taking a wild guess because you have Luigi in the username. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Jay. He usually has like Luigi username, so I wonder if that's him. Again, I might be making a mistake if I'm messing up y'all's, because I don't see y'all on Twitch often, because I do these streams like super late and I don't usually do anything too exciting with these, so I apologize if I'm getting that wrong. But feel free to let me know. I'm almost never on Twitch, bruh. I have a whole Twitch channel where I play games on here, and I'm barely on here. Like, I'm only really on here when I have a cool idea for a stream I want to do and when I want to talk about something, bro. And yeah, if you just made this account, then I guess welcome. At least maybe you can watch other people on here, like that boy Fidel. I know he does some crazy streams on here, but I'm not on here. If you're expecting me to be streaming often, no, bro. I don't stream often. It's a rare case. Mama Luigi from Twitter. Okay, so I think you're actually a different account now that I look at your nickname. I think I do recognize you, Mama Luigi. Let me see. I think, are you the guy with the, let me see, I'm trying to see which guy you are. Oh, okay, now I know you. You're the Joel Turner account, the one with the king from Zelda, the CDI profile picture. I recognize you now. I thought you were Jay. But yeah, I'm very glad to have you here, Jameson. I really appreciate it. And you made it 4 years ago? Okay, that's cool. I made this. I can't tell if this is my new account or if, because I had two. I had like an old one that I streamed way more on, and I used to stream all sorts of wild stuff on that first one, in terms of like watching stuff with friends. But on this one, I keep things a little more tame. I mostly play games and I do casual discussions. But now that we have more people tuned into the stream, I think I can get started on the discussion so I don't bore y'all to death. So, what do y'all want to do first? Y'all want to talk FNAF movie? Or y'all want to talk Mario and Sonic Superstars? Brief impressions on that. Not full impressions. I'm not doing a full review discussion. I'm not going into spoilers. Or at least super spoilers with those. So, I'm gonna let y'all decide. Mama Luigi says Mario and Sonic. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Alright. I'm going to send a message to a friend. See if they tune in. And if not, then it's cool. And yeah, y'all missed my epic rant on 𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗄, because 𝘀𝘁𝗿 really screwed me at the beginning of the stream. They were late as frick. But alright, let's put out the icon. Y'all voted for Mario and Sonic, so let's do Mario and Sonic. See if it goes up. Gani says, I really don't care what you're talking about, Nux. It's your channel. Do whatever you want to do. I appreciate that, Gani. I appreciate that. It's rare I get that. I know a lot of people come to my channel for Sonic. Like, I'm just real for that. I know that is what a lot of people like about my channel. So, if y'all want to hear Sonic, I will talk about that. But occasionally I do like to talk about other things is all. I don't take any offense. Like I wouldn't be talking about Sonic as much as I do if I didn't like the series. Like, some people have an impression I really do not like it, but no, bro, I really do love it. Alright, so let's get started. So, Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars impressions. So no major spoilers, so this isn't a full review. I'll do a full review later down the road, but I'll give some brief impressions on both games. So where do I even begin? Oh boy, so let's do Sonic Superstars, because I technically am almost done with that first. So I got Sonic Superstars from a friend. I had no intention of like getting this game myself. Like, y'all know how I felt about Sonic Superstars before the game released. Like, if you recall, I did a whole other casual live stream where I broke down my knee-jerk impressions to Sonic Superstars, and they were not pretty. Because, see, I like 2D Sonic. I really do. Like, it's a series that means a lot to me because it is literally my first game. But the problem is that not only am I, like, kind of tired of classic Sonic, but I just think that him specifically is oversaturated. And I do not think we needed another, like, very, like, nostalgia-focused classic Sonic game so soon. So that was the impression I went into going into Sonic Superstars. I basically thought it was going to be another Mania, but how I thought it was going to be worse than Mania is the fact that it's not made by the Mania team, but it's made by Sega and Arzest. And if you didn't know, Arzest is this other team who's worked on games like Yoshi's New Island, and that is a game I do not like. And what else have they worked on? I know they worked on some other games for sure. I should have had a list ready for that, but they've worked on some other games. Oh yeah, they worked on Hey Pikmin and Balan. So when I learned that, I was like, I was scared, bro. I was like, yikes. I was sweating bullets. So yeah, I didn't have the I didn't have the most positive thoughts going into this game. Y'all know this. Sonic Superstars is basically Sonic Generations Classic Sonic got a full game. Yeah, Mama Luigi 9000. That's how I was thinking. It was going to be another Sonic Mania, but I was super worried because of RZS's track record. And just overall because of the fact that I don't have much faith with Sonic Team when it comes to 2D Sonic. Because we got to remember, Sonic Team hasn't really led a 2D Sonic in a hot minute. Like, their last, 2D Sonic they really had their hands into was a game like Sonic 4 and like some other games like Generations and stuff like that, which had 2D that wasn't exactly the best 2D Sonic. And do I even need to bring up how 2D Sonic was in Forces? Do I really need to get into that tangent? Oh boy. So yeah, 2D Sonic it's been on a journey the last few years. And Gandhi says, I don't have a problem with bringing Classic Sonic back, just don't make him the main focus. See, I don't have a problem with 2D Sonic, but I do have beef with Classic Sonic. Like, I just think Classic Sonic is a bit overdone. Like, he had his time in Sonic Generations because obviously it was the 20th anniversary. The 25th anniversary, okay, sure, it's another anniversary, so bring him back. But when he keeps coming back in these years that have nothing to do with an anniversary, that's where I'm, like, really getting sick of him because we don't need him. We just don't. I'm sorry. Like, 2D Sonic can prosper without Classic Sonic. It existed during the 2000s alongside modern Sonic just fine. And so as a result, I really wanted to see another modern... See, right, Mygo. Rush Free. I would have loved something like that. But no, bro. They gave us Superstars, so yeah. Alright, so now let's get into what are my impressions on Superstars. So, my impressions on Superstars is that, honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I don't think it's a super amazing game. And let me break down why. So this is going to be very interesting. Let me read y'all comments. Gani says, same, there was no reason to bring him in Sources. Again, that's a whole tangent I could rant about all day, but I'm going to try not to. Or another Advanced style. Yeah, Advanced too. Those are great games. Bro, those games need ports. Like, even if we don't get like a new modern 2D Sonic, like, port these games. Like, I can understand the Rush games because they're complicated with the whole two-screen thing, but there's no excuse for the advanced games. Like, you literally have NSO-GBA as a thing now, so you can like hit up Nintendo and easily like work out a deal and put the games on there. Especially because they literally have Sega Genesis games on the NSO, so we know you can do that. Like, you're not fooling me, bro. You can do that. So yeah, like, if they at least give ports to these games, then I would very much appreciate it. But for some reason, they like porting only the Genesis games, and I don't know why. There's 10 other years of Sonic where you have plenty of games you can port or remaster or whatever. But I guess they don't like that period, but whatever, man. But yeah, back to Superstars. Overall, I would say that the game is not as bad as I was expecting. Like, I was going into this game expecting the absolute worst of the worst. But it was not as bad as I was expecting. I think the game was okay. Like, it has like a lot of the basic elements that make for a good classic Sonic game. Like Sonic controls, how you'd expect Sonic to control. All the characters have their unique abilities, and I think they play pretty nice. Like Amy, her main thing is pretty much just the double jump and having a hammer attack. But I don't really like the way her hammer attack works. I think that could work in a much more cooler way. Like, they kind of have it to where it works similar to the drop dash. But I think it could probably work in a better way. But yeah, everyone is okay on surface level in terms of the general gameplay. But I just think that in terms of like the control and like the level design, it's not as good as Sonic Mania. And I know that's like a take that many people, you know, are debating online, but I'm sorry. Like, the people who are saying that, they have a point. Like, in terms of control and like the movement of Sonic and Co., I just think Mania handled it a little better. So, what do y'all think? I don't even know if all y'all have played Superstars or even have an idea how the game works, but if y'all have any different input, feel free to let me know. Like, I don't push people around if they have a different opinion from me. Like, I make my snarky comments and jokes, but I try to tone down on that stuff. I'm too old to be going in opinion wars these days. But yeah, Sonic Superstars, in terms of like just the general control, I just think that it could have been better. It very much could have been better. Like, the game falls short in a lot of areas compared to Sonic Mania, and as a result of that, I think it's a step backwards for 2D Sonic. Like, I think it's a step forward in some ways. Like, for example, one of the main things I do commend is the fact that we have original zones. Like, not half the zone lineup isn't taken from other games, which thank goodness, because 2D Sonic has just had a problem with that for so long. It's ridiculous. Like, that is a whole tangent I could go on, but I can confirm that at least in terms of the main story mode, it is new zones. There's no chemical plant, no sky sanctuary, so we're safe in that. If you're safe in that camp, if that's what you're thinking. So that was a relief for me. Like, I'm just so glad I don't have to play Green Hill Zone again. Even the first zone, which I was mad at that zone because I thought, okay, it's probably just going to be another Green Hill S zone. Even that one kind of feels pretty different compared to usual Sonic first level. So I was like, okay, I mess with it. So I wasn't ticked off really as much. Let me see what y'all are saying. Superstars, hold on. Superstars would have been a good 2014 3DS game. Okay, I wouldn't say. Okay, maybe not a 3DS game per se, but like, I do agree that this is a game that came out way too late, bro. Like, a multiplayer 2D Sonic, this should have come out when New Super Mario Bros. Was like at the top of its game. Like, this should have come out as a direct competitor to the New Super Mario Bros. Games, because doing a basic Sonic multiplayer 2D platformer now just feels like a bit of a step back compared to what Mario is doing right now, you know? Like, if this had come out back then, I would have went crazy for this. Like, because I used to be a sucker for 2D Sonic much more, and I would have absolutely loved Superstars. But now it's just like, okay, this is a game. It exists. I think even 2014 would be a bit late. Like, I'd say the peak is that this should have come out around, like, after the Sonic 4 period. It would have lost. Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying they should have tried to compete super directly, because let's be real, it would have gotten stomped out by the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Those games were selling like hotcakes, bro. And yeah, Kirby too. Kirby was ahead of the ball in 2011, so Sonic was very late to doing a type of game like this. So I think that's what really hurt Sonic Superstars. Ty-Star, I didn't even notice you. Ty-Star says, LMAO, I remember you saying that when the first trailers came out, I was on the same page as you because of being oversaturated with classic Sonic stuff and elements, Sonic 4 Mania, etc. in the 2010s. I just couldn't bring myself to get excited for this one. And yeah, I don't blame people for not being super hyped up for this game, because, like, while it does have its new elements, again, thank goodness it has some new stages for once. Like, for the most part, it is pretty much a simple 2D Sonic platformer. It doesn't have too many interesting new ideas. Like, even the stuff it borrows from modern games, like the rail grinding and stuff like that, doesn't do anything too particularly interesting with that stuff, you know? So, yeah. And speaking of the multiplayer, I would give a comment on that, but I haven't played Sonic Superstars multiplayer yet. I've tried to, but I haven't had time to do that with my brothers or whatnot. So I can't personally comment on the multiplayer, but I will say this. I don't think Sonic Superstars is built for multiplayer, y'all. I've seen clips of the multiplayer, and they look, they don't look too functional compared to the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Not because I think the game is like flat out bad, because literally the level design does not accommodate for 4 players. That, and obviously Sonic, you know, the nature of how Sonic as a franchise plays, I do not think it works for multiplayer. Because here's why. Obviously, the whole point of Sonic is running fast, right? And what's one of the biggest problems with the new Super Mario Bros. Games in terms of their multiplayer? Being left behind. But obviously, you can slow down a bit because, you know, if you try to rush in the new Super Mario Bros., you can freaking die from the platforming. With Sonic, rushing is the whole point of some sections, so you will constantly be leaving your friends behind. Like, they will not get the touch jack all on the controller, especially if you're like playing at Sonic. You are gone. And another reason why I think it hurts the multiplayer is the level design is very much single player focused. Like, I don't think this is like Return to Dreamland where you can tell they toned down the level design for multiplayer. No, in this case they did not, bro. This level design is 100% like single player focused. And if you play multiplayer, you're just going to have to deal with that. Like, even playing by myself, I noticed this. I noticed like some of the later levels get like super intense. I'm like, how do you do this with multiplayer? The answer is you don't. Because I've seen clips of people trying and they just get absolutely destroyed. It's so funny. And throwing people off, yeah, that's a classic right there. But yeah, those are just like in terms of the general gameplay. Like, there's all sorts of other areas I can get into. What else could I talk about? Oh yeah, another debate is the music, and the music debates with Sonic Superstars. So I don't think the soundtrack is all bad. Let me say that right now. I literally played one of the songs at the start of the stream, and that particular song is fire. Like, there are some pretty good songs on this soundtrack. That being said, 𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗄, my boy, I love you. He's the guitarist of Crush 40. He is a legend when it comes to Sonic music and even just Sega music overall. But I'm sorry, my friend. I'm going to need you to let go of that Sonic 4 sound font and get off the keyboard. I need you to stick with the... I might need you to stick with the guitar because it ain't working. It ain't working. Like, you've seen... Like, I know some of y'all have seen debates about this all over the place. Like, in terms of how all over the place that soundtrack is. And it's true. Like, there are some songs that are, like, pretty solid, but then, like, just a lot of the soundtrack is just... Oh! I love you, June, but I'm going to need you to get off that keyboard. Get out the studio. Don't come in the studio again unless you have the guitar. Or at least some type of different sound thought, bro. That's all I'm going to say. I love... keep in mind, I love 𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗄, but it's not working. I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. What do y'all think in terms of the music? Like, that's just me. That's just what I think about the music. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up something. I usually have like a little bullet point thing I can pull up in case I'm forgetting something. So let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Presentation, bosses. Bosses! Oh ho 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 ho! Oh, bosses. Ooh. I almost don't want to even say anything right now because I have words for the bosses. I'm not even going to say anything right now because I have choice words for the bosses, but I'm going to save that for when I do a full video on Superstars. Let's just say that I have some words on these bosses. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I didn't get the game for myself, but everyone seems to say the OST sounds like Sonic 4 Episode 3, 𝘀𝗀𝗄 says. And here's the thing, 𝘀𝗀𝗄. They're not wrong, but it's not the entire OST that sounds like that. There are decent songs that like have different sound thoughts and sound like legit. The problem is like that Sonic 4 style persists in so much of the OST and it hurts it and brings it down a lot. Like when the OST is not doing that style, it does a good job, but like when it is leaning into that style, it's so mid. It's so mid. And I wouldn't even say like the Sonic 4 style songs of this OST are as good as like ones in like actual Sonic 4. Like, hot take, some of Sonic 4 Episodes 2 music was better than the Sonic 4 style songs on this OST because the Sonic 4 style songs on this OST are just so forgettable. They're so forgettable. They sound like they have shorter loops almost. But yeah, Mygo says the bosses. Well, speaking of restaurant, again, the bosses are gonna be something I gotta touch on in that video. I'm gonna let y'all just think about that. My boy Curb says, see, with Mania, I was instantly hooked. And hell, I still think Mania's OST is a top 5 Sonic OST. I wouldn't say top 5. I don't think I'd even say top 10 or 15 possibly. But I will say Mania is up there for me. I do really like that OST. Like, it is nothing but bangers. I will say that much. Because y'all know me, I definitely love it when Sonic leans more into the live sounding music in the rock style. So, you know, those are my preferred OSTs. But, like, Mania, I do respect that OST a lot. It's really good. Like, when it's good, it is good. I was literally just listening to that OST a few days ago, just to, like, compare it to Superstars. And I'm like, man, I miss you, T-Loops. I'm going to need you to take the reins if we do get another Classic Sonic game. I've not played Superstars, but I have heard some tracks, and I'm not really impressed by the ones I've heard, to be honest. But then again, I haven't heard them all. And yeah, like, some channels, they were still uploading some of the songs, so a lot of people had, like, a knee-jerk impression. And I do recommend you give the full OST a chance before, like, fully judging it, but, like, there are some songs where that's just not worth it, bro. Like, they just aren't that good. And they'd be infinitely better if they were done in some other sound thought, done with June's guitar, or they just let T-Loops cook. And T-Loops is on this OST. He did do some of the songs on this OST, and it shows. But I think that's the problem. Like, when you have songs by T-Loops that just are going crazy, but then you have them followed up with these, like, MIDI, weird Sonic 4 style songs, it is an insane tone shift. Like, it would be like if you're playing Sonic Adventure and you go from, like, the hard rock music of that game to, like, Sonic 4 style music. It would be jarring. And that's how it is in Superstars. But yeah, man, I don't really have much else to talk about, at least in terms of, like, surface level impressions with Superstars. Like I said, there's more I could touch on, but I think it's better safe for my full review, and I just wanted to give my brief impressions. Overall, I think the game is just okay. It's not terrible. It's not as bad as some people have been saying, but, like, I don't think this game is a good step in the right direction for 2D Sonic, because there's a lot of areas it lacks in that previous games did better. And I'm not even talking like previous games as in, oh, games long ago. I'm talking about literally like previous games as in the last installment. Like, when you look at Mania compared to Superstars, it's a bit embarrassing in areas, especially because Mania costs less. Like, Superstars is a full 60, a little more in some regions, and, like, that's just like, no, bro, don't spend a full 60 for Superstars. Wait for that price drop, my boys. Like, if you, and that's not to say you don't have to, like, you need to buy it immediately, or you don't have to buy it. That's your choice ultimately. But in terms of my impressions, like, I didn't even pay for this game, and in some areas I feel a little ripped off. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, I don't think it's a bad game, so if you're expecting like a review where I'm like really grilling it, I don't think you're gonna get that. But I do think it's a passable game, but not one that's a good step in the right direction for 2D Sonic. I was gonna ask, would you say it's a step in the right direction as a joke? I mean, as a joke, if I felt like telling that joke, sure, but, like, no, it's not a step in the right direction in terms of, like, my actual thoughts on that. Because, like, it lacks in a lot of areas where older games did better. I think it's an interesting template. I think there's potential to build on it, but I'm going to need them to start building ASAP, because if the next game is just like Superstars, where it has a mixed OST, hit or miss physics, and bosses like this game, which that's all I'm gonna say on that, then that's gonna be a skip for me. I'm gonna need them to fix some stuff with the next installment. And also, if they're gonna do multiplayer, like you might as well just make a separate mode for that. Like have separate like versions of the stages for multiplayer, because just plopping multiplayer onto the single player campaign is not it, bro. Like the clips that I've seen for this game in terms of like the multiplayer is insane. It is not functional. Alrighty, but that's Sonic Superstars. What a game! What a game! But we'll talk more about it another day. I appreciate y'all for coming out again. But now let's talk Mario Wonder. So Mario Wonder, I'm gonna need y'all to not get as spoilery with that one, because that's a game I'm like just getting into. I like just got into Wonder. Like I'm not even. I think I've beaten like the first world. I don't think I've gotten to the second world yet. So I'm not too far in Wonder. But what are my like knee-jerk impressions on that? I am liking that game a lot. I'm really liking that game. It is a really good 2D Mario so far. Like, I'll say this. The one thing that I really appreciate with Mario Wonder out the jump is I am so glad it feels like such a breath of fresh air. Because it just gives me flashbacks to when I got New Super Mario Bros. U. And I get it. I get people who love that game. Like, it's a good game overall. It's not a bad game. But, like, bro, the way that it did it almost nothing new from the previous New Super Mario Bros. Games was so annoying. Like, it annoyed me so much. And it's sad because I was looking forward to New Super Mario Bros. U. But it just shook up so little between the installments. So as a result, I just felt so drained by the time I beat that game. Not the case with Mario Wonder, because they definitely had some new ideas, to say the least. It is a very interesting game. Very interested when I got to do a review on that. Any of y'all played Mario Wonder so far? Check Twitter, see what Twitter is up to. Hold on, I just like got a message I had to check real quick, so I'm sorry I went silent for a bit. But let me read you what y'all are saying. I see y'all saying some interesting stuff. The boy Jameson says, as I told you, when I entered the first level, I knew it was peak. I swear, Nintendo has a very interesting track record when it comes to making like first levels that just hit me instantly. Like, that's why I get so frustrated with Sonic. Like, I'd love to play another Sonic game that gives me that feeling. Like, where you go into that first level and you know they just cooked. They just cooked. And with Mario Wonder, that was the case. Like, I hate to say it, but Wonder just does a few things better than Superstars. So, that's going to be very interesting when I have to make comparisons. I really don't want to, but I can't help it. It's pretty insane that Sonic and Mario had another release in the same launch window. I think the last time that happened was for Odyssey, which, yeah. It's mainly because, obviously, they both want that holiday period to get those holiday sales. But, like, the difference is Nintendo doesn't, like, butcher or take less time on their games to get to the holidays. They just kind of happen to release during that time. Sega, like, they have a very bad track record with, like, trying to rush games out for the holidays. And I feel like that has hurt their games a lot. Obviously, the most infamous example being, of course, 06, but even Superstars, I feel like, might have been hurt by this, because, like, this game needed a little more time in the oven, I feel like. And that's not to say the game is, like, freaking as broken as 06. Oh, God, no. God, no. But like, I don't know, man. There's some certain aspects about the game that I think would have been executed better if they let the game have more time to simmer. Mama Luigi says, New Super Mario Bros. U felt like a game that was just made to be the Wii U launch title, which, I mean, it was, because the tech demo was like, it came out a while before the launch happened, back when it was known as New Super Mario Bros. Me, which only true OGs know that lore. New Super Mario Bros. U started as like a tech demo where it was supposed to be a game where you could just play as your me and Mario. But then that like evolved into New Super Mario Bros. U. And you can tell because like New Super Mario Bros. U is obviously based a lot on the backbone of Wii, which is what that tech demo was. So you can tell that game was like rushed, like Sonic style. Like that's one of the rare cases where I think Nintendo might have rushed a game. Like it's very interesting to look back on, but the difference is New Super Mario Bros. U, it's not like unpolished. Like the game isn't like wonky with level design and has weird decisions that like make it weird to play. The game is overall still solid, mostly because it borrows from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but yeah. Ty Star says, how do you feel about the new voices in Mario Wonder? Ho 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 ho, that is an interesting question. Okay, so with Mario, I like the new Mario. Kevin Afghani, I think is his name. I might have butchered his name right there. But just know, Kevin, or whatever your name is, you're doing a good job. I like your Mario. His Luigi feels a bit off. There's something off about his Luigi. I don't know what it is, but I don't think his Luigi is there yet. It's close, but not there yet. Daisy. The new Daisy sounds identical to the old Daisy, so like I have no complaints there, but I do miss her old voice actress. But I can understand why they got a new one for her, because people don't realize the Mario girls tend to change voice a lot, and Daisy's VA hasn't voiced her in a hot minute, so it's been a long while. So I can understand why she got a new one. And then everyone else, I'm just like, alright, that's cool. They did an alright job. I think Peach actually kept her voice actor and or voice actress, and Bowser kept his. So they're the same. But yeah, I really do miss Charles Martinet. I really do miss him. He will forever be Mario and Luigi and Wario and all the other characters for me. I'll miss the GOAT. But I'm open-minded to these new voices, and I think they have potential. Well, Mario and Luigi at least. Whoever is doing the new Wario voice, I'm going to need them to work on that, because that one was a bit rougher. If you've watched like the promotional stuff for the new WarioWare game, I'm going to need him to work on that voice. But yeah, everyone else I feel like is doing a solid job. I don't know if it's the Mario and Luigi VA who's doing Wario, but whoever it is, I don't know. And yeah, Peach and Toad are the same, so. And Toadette, she does Toadette too, so they're all good. Nabbit had a new VA as well, and that shocked me, because I didn't even think he had a voice in the first place. Like, he usually just kind of makes squeak sounds, so I never even figured he might have a VA, but he has a whole new one for this game. And he does make, like, new sounds. Like, he sounds a lot different than he usually does. He kind of sounds like an actual person now, so it's jarring. In general, I like how this game has a lot of characters. That's probably, like, a big thing I love about this game. I love big character rosters. That is something that will always make me appreciate a game. Easily. It's so easy, bro. Giving me a lot of options is nothing but a W. That's not saying I don't think Sonic Superstars has any less value if it had more characters. Sonic Superstars has a decent amount of characters for a 2D Sonic. Like, it has the main four. It may or may not end there. I'm not going to get into any spoiler stuff with that, but yeah. I love the Mario Wonder roster. It's pretty dang good. Like, part of me does wish we got a few more in there. Like, obviously, I want Wario and Waluigi. I want Rosalina and stuff like that. But otherwise, I'm satisfied. Nabbit's new voice actress also voices a character from Dragon Ball Super, which is so funny. Yeah, Kale, which that is still like wild to me. It's like, it's always fascinating when these voice actors like pop up in roles like this. It's like, dang, that is like not a role I expect you to take, but okay, you're doing a good job. Pop off, queen. Yes. I too would be happy voicing the funny purple rabbit. But yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say on Wonder. Because again, I'm not as far as in Wonder as I am with Sonic. Like Sonic, I beaten at least like that first campaign, which yeah, I guess soft spoilers. There is a bit of stuff after that initial campaign, but I'm not gonna get into that obviously because spoilers. So I guess you'll look forward to that, which I say in quotations. But yeah, I'm gonna play more Mario and Sonic maybe next week. And I'm hoping to get those reviews out eventually to y'all. Again, I'm very curious how y'all feeling with both games. Not that I'm asking which one y'all think is better enough, anything like that, but just very curious if, you know, you're enjoying both games, if you have a preference towards one, all that stuff. Like, overall, Mario and Sonic both mean a lot to me in terms of game franchises, so when they get a new installment, I'll always be down to at least try it, just to like really understand how the series are doing. And I won't hold back in giving my thoughts, whether they be positive thoughts, negative thoughts, stuff like that. And yeah, Curb says Wonder is my game of the year. I already know, Curb. Like, I can tell you love Wonder, and I don't know if I'll call Wonder my game of the year. Because it's tough, because like Tears of the Kingdom, at least in terms of like when I first picked up that game, I was like obsessed with that game. I was like, that game was eating me up. But I think in the end, Wonder might take it because Tears of the Kingdom did fall off a bit for me as I was playing it more. But that's a whole other conversation. Don't get me started on Tears of the Kingdom. It's a mixed bag. Very interesting, Gani. Very interesting you say that. But yeah. However you decide to play these games, it's your choice, and y'all just let me know how you feel about the games. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can say. I can't think of anything. At least that doesn't get into a super spoilery territory, especially when it comes to Sonic. So I think we'll move on to what I think will be my last topic for tonight. Because I know it's getting late and a lot of you can't stay up too late. So I guess I can get into my last topic. So last topic for tonight, y'all. Y'all ready? Oh boy. So for the last topic tonight, I want to talk a bit about FNAF, because the Five Nights at Freddy's movie dropped, obviously, and I have some thoughts on it. Let me tell you, I have some thoughts on that movie. So if you're trying to duck spoilers for that movie and you haven't seen it yet, now is your chance to get out of here. Like, the warning is right on screen. Like, if you haven't seen the FNAF movie yet, go ahead and get on out of here. Just say goodbye. I appreciate you coming out to the stream, but for this specific discussion, I will allow spoilers. So we're gonna have a little chat about this movie because I have some interesting thoughts on it. And the Talene is here. Hey, the Talene, how is it going? Good to have you here. He said he just watched the movie too. Great. You can contribute. And you like just watched it? Dang. That's perfect timing. Real quick, Talene, before we start the FNAF discussion, do you have any quick thoughts on Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars you want to give. If you have any, I'd like to hear that before we get started on this. Gandhi says, I don't care for the movie. I stopped. Yeah, I don't blame you, Gandhi, because I think a lot of people grew out of FNAF after its like initial hype period. Like we were all like super obsessed with it with those first 3 to 4 games. But then once we hit like the sister location, the weird RPG, and all that other stuff, we all kind of just like, lore is getting too weird. This is kind of getting dumb. We're out of here. So I feel like that's how a lot of people went with it in terms of the FNAF game series. I do know some people who did continue to follow the lore though and think it's alright, but for me, I think it definitely did get kind of dumb once we got to sister location. Which sister location isn't an all bad game, but in terms of like the lore, some of the decisions I'm like, eh. So yeah. But we're going to talk about the movie because that's going to be very interesting. The Celine says, haven't played Wonder and Superstars, but Wonder looks good, Superstars looks mediocre. I'm just going to say you captured my thoughts to a bit of a T. That's something I'll be diving into when I do my individual review videos for those games. But yeah, I can agree with you, that's Celine. Curb says, I was so deep into FNAF until 2018-ish. So I don't know when that period was FNAF-wise. But yeah, I think everyone had a period where they like slowly kind of fell out of FNAF. Because like FNAF as a series, it just kept going and going. And it was something else. Where's like a timeline for this? So 2018... I think 2018 is when Ultimate Custom Night dropped. So what is that? Is that FNAF 6? I'm not sure. Oh no, Pizzeria Simulation is FNAF 6. Ultimate Custom Night is a different one. Okay, I had to like Google that real quick. Yeah, Sister Location made FNAF more sci-fi than like grounded horror. Which again, that's the whole reason I kind of fell out of FNAF with that one. 7 and 8, and yeah, that gets into like the VR ones, curve. That's where 7 and 8 are. That gets into like all the VR ones, and the lore is there especially is like, ooh. You should have stopped with the first one. I do like how the second and third one at least build on the lore, because like the second one, it basically just expands on the lore we already knew. Like the toy animatronics were weird, but it does basically just expand on the original lore, and same with like, you know, 3. 4 obviously gets a little weird with like, because that's where like the whole Bite of 87 stuff comes in, and the nightmares and whatnot. That gets weird, but I also don't think that one was so bad. But yeah, Sister Location is where we get like off the walls and stuff. And I very much was following this series for the lore, trust me. Like the actual gameplay, if I gotta be honest, it wasn't for me. I'm not a guy who plays horror games that like jump at you. I played all the games though. Like I was playing them with my brothers at some point, and it was definitely an interesting experience. Either the second or third one. I think the third one made some type of sense to end it, or the fourth one, one of those games for sure. But yeah, now let's talk about the movie. So final warning to anyone in chat. We're going to be talking about the FNAF movie. Spoilers are allowed, so just keep that in mind. I'm not going to recap the whole plot, so if you don't know the plot... I'm sorry, I just got a stupid DM. I'm not going to recap the whole plot, so if you don't know the story, I might sound like a crazy person here, but I'll try my best to, like, explain how I feel with this movie. So, are we ready? Alright, let's get this party started. And yeah, the third one was pretty flawed, which is why he made the fourth. Okay. Makes sense. But yeah, let's talk about the freaking movie. Okay, so obviously the history with this movie is a mess. Like, this movie was in development for so long. Like, keep in mind, this movie was in development, I think, when the third or fourth game was coming out. So this movie was in development when the series was at its peak. I want to say the peak was around the second and third game, but this was somewhere between the third and fourth game is when the movie was specifically announced. 2015. I gotta look at the timeline and see when that was. So 2015. That is, yeah, that's right. That's around the third and fourth. So I'm right on the money. But yeah, so like, this movie was in development during peak FNAF. Then obviously it got delayed. Like, Scott Cawthon had a bunch of problems with the script. He didn't like working with the original people who were on the movie, so he ended up moving with Blumhouse. And even then, that movie was still getting hell of rewrites. So this movie was in absolute development hell. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. It's honestly a miracle the movie came out. Like, we see movies go through this all the time, and it's very rare movies end up coming out okay, let alone coming out good. But is the FNAF movie good? That is the question. And I'm about to drop my thoughts. So y'all ready? Here we go. What did I think about the FNAF movie? Overall, the FNAF movie was a FNAF movie. It was, I wouldn't even say it was okay. It was kind of bad. Cause, like, oh, I'm sorry if some of y'all in the chat like FNAF, but I didn't like the movie. And here's why. Like, keep in mind, I don't think the movie is bad on, like, a concept level. I think a lot of the direction the movie was going in terms of, like, the setup and how it portrayed the lore and is stuff, and it was good. Like, I think the movie was on the right track in terms of being a good FNAF movie. But here's where I think it fell apart. So a big thing this movie tries to do is it tries to be a bit of a mystery movie in a way, where it really focuses in on the mystery around the missing kids. We learn a bit more about this individual character who has his sister that's like a crutch for him. And then there's all sorts of other little side mysteries that come together to build this movie. But the problem is, these mysteries and their plot threads are just so uninteresting. Nothing happens for so much of the movie. Like, the first night being a little uninteresting but eerie, I think that could make a bit sense. But then the other nights, like, there are like a bunch of other nights where nothing happens. Like, nothing literally happens. Like, there's moments in this movie where, like, nothing just happens. Like, it focuses so much on the daytime shenanigans and Mike as a character, which is good and stuff like that. But there's just no time for the movie to be scary and to really make the animatronics feel like a threat. And there's some other creative decisions, too, that I think also, you know, don't help with that fact. There's the fact that we see them a lot, and they're portrayed as, you know, these nice little monsters that don't entirely want to be murder bots. So that's part of the reason why it takes away the scare factor from them. Like, there's a scene in this movie where Freddy and the gang, they're like building a little pillow fort with the little girl, you know, obviously, and that's to show that there are kids in the robot. But, like, it's like, bro, do we need the sequence to be this long? Do we need to have Mike a part of it? Like, this just makes the robot so much non-threatening, and that is like a huge issue with the movie. Let me read y'all comments. Kirby says it's mid to me as a FNAF man, which, yeah, like, even as like a FNAF, someone who knows the lore a little bit, like, I don't think it was a good FNAF movie. Like, I've seen comparisons to the Mario movie, and oh, don't get me started on this rant. Like, I've seen a lot of people compare this to the Mario movie, where it's like, oh, fans of the games will love it. but critics hate it because they don't understand all the references. And my hot take is that I don't think this is the same case as the Mario movie. Because here's why. With the Mario movie, like you don't need to understand every reference to understand that movie. Like that movie has a very simple premise. It's Mario, you know, this plumber, average plumber going through this wacky world to defeat a turtle dragon to get a princess back, or more specifically in the movie, to get his brother back. And it is so straightforward. There's no like side plot threads and stuff like that. It's a very simple story in the first place. So you don't need more elaboration on that. You don't need to like streamline that. The plot is already very simple. Critics were only mad because like some of the plot elements were dumb, but those are like key things with Mario. So that's why I don't think that criticism applied with Mario. With the FNAF movie, you have to streamline some of these elements and make them a little more clear, because you can't be vague like with the game series, or else you just have a movie that literally has a non-coherent plot, which is what I think this movie suffered from. And the 𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗄 says, to be honest, I have no problem with them being nice, but they really should have been a threat for a bit more before showing that they're nice. Which, yeah, I think like them being nice should have been like one scene where like they meet the girl and they show their soft side a bit. But literally whenever they're with an adult, that's when they're threatening. But the problem is, even when Mike was there, like they were still nice. Like they should be 100% on high alert when they see anyone who is not a kid. Like that's what I think they should have taken them the direction in. But because they're like treated as very like non-threatening if you don't tick them off, that took a lot of the scare factor away from them. And there are scenes where they are made to be decently scary. And the main scene that carries this is that scene where like the thugs break into the place. Which, first of all, the first problem with that scene is, why is it during the day? Why? Like, I get that point is that Mike needed to not be there so they could sneak in and ruin the place. But by that point, he's already left, so it's not entirely his fault. He's off the job now, so what's the point? Like, that should have been a night. Like, maybe they broke in and, like, attacked Mike and tied him up, and then they get attacked. And Mike, you know, that's where Mike realizes just how deadly these guys are. Having it be to where they go in the place during the day and get attacked on their own, and then Mike just kind of has to figure that out later. Like, that took away the impact from that scene. But it was still a nice scene, because, like, that's where we see them just go absolutely crazy. Like, Freddy did a whole Mortal Kombat kill on that girl, which was absolutely wild. That was absolutely wild. Curb says, I know, right? Which, yeah. Yeah, that scene was so brutal, and that's like what a lot of people said the movie should have been. It should have leaned into that more brutal side, which obviously it couldn't, because the movie was, you know, it had a very safe rating. But I still think they could have found ways to like work around that, you know? If the movie leaned more into the energy of that scene, but just keep it throughout a decent chunk of the movie, I think it would have helped the movie a lot. And I'm not even saying the movie needed to be all action. I just think they needed to do a better job of balancing the animatronics being a threat with, you know, the lore making some kind of sense. But let's move from the actual animatronics and let's talk about these side characters, because I have some words for the girl, Vanessa, which, why are you here? I get it. She's like a newer character, but like she does not work in this story. You can tell that she is a newer character that they plucked from the newer games and put into the old lore, because she does not fit in this story. She just doesn't. And I feel like they could have wrote it to where she fit, but they just didn't. She's kind of just here because, oh, she's a popular character from the newer games. And they obviously give her a connection to the main antagonist, but that connection is so thin and just so not built upon that her impact as a character is just worthless. And yeah, the rating definitely held it back a bit, which I agree with. That's like one of the major issues. But even then, I think another issue is the fact that the writing is just wonky because like Vanessa is this character that like appears all throughout the movie and has a bunch of key scenes, but her development as a character just goes nowhere. Like we have a big reveal with her, but it just does nothing for the film. And I feel like that's a major problem with her character. And then obviously William Afton. Like we all knew Matthew Lillard was going to be playing William Afton. We all knew he was going to be the final big bad. And his scenes are great, but he has so little screen time and it sucks. It sucks, bro. He was so good, but he has so little screen time. It hurt the film a lot. So yeah, I think the way that this film could have been improved is obviously I think it should have been a higher rating. I think they should have expanded some aspects of the characters a bit and rewrote some characters. And we definitely needed more of the villain, William Afton, because he was great, but he was barely in the story. And it sucks because he's like a key person in this story. Like he comes in the finale out of nowhere. There is no build up to him coming in and being the final boss battle. He just kind of walks in there. Like with Bowser, for example, we saw like Bowser frame 1 in the Mario movie. William Afton, he just kind of walks in there. So that's why I say that the Mario movie and the FNAF movie are not in the same camp per se. Like even with the Sonic movies, even the Sonic movies handle this better. Like there's no character that I think is particularly underdeveloped. Like most of the characters are like set up from the start and built upon throughout the movie. A basic thing a movie should be able to do. But that's what the FNAF movie failed at, I feel. On top of the animatronics just not being that scary and a bunch of other issues, I think. So yeah, that's why I say the movie was not very good. The Talene says he was the highlight, and I heard from Johnny Block's spoiler-free mention he was underutilized, and he was right. Yeah, they really underutilized him. And again, I don't mind that they didn't show like the exact incident with what he did, because obviously, again, they were limited with the rating, but like they could have done it in a so much more clever way than what they ended up doing. They just give him like a little 8-bit scene and that's it. He has brief appearances throughout the movie and then bam, he comes in to be the final boss. And then they do give him the Springlock scene, which is super dope. I'm glad they did add that. But again, held back by the rating. So yeah. What are any other issues that stand out to y'all? Because I had a whole bunch of issues that like stood out to me. But let's get into what I think was good. So obviously the animatronics, when they were scary, they were pretty good. I like their designs and I like how they're, props that are actually in the movie. They're not dumb CGI, stuff like that. I do think the movie has some decently feel-good scenes. And the cameos, bro. The cameos did not disappoint. That's an aspect of the movie I loved because this movie had some hilarious cameos. Let me tell you. If y'all saw the movie, you know how wild the cameos of this movie get. Like 𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗄, he was revealed in the trailer, so he wasn't too surprising. I feel like I can say him with full confidence because he was already revealed in the trailer. But yeah, 𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗄. It was wild to see him in the movie. And yeah, we all saw a Springlock scene coming. We all knew it was going to happen. I just think the way it could have happened could have been better. And the big one, MatPat, y'all. We got MatPat in the movie. His freaking name tag had Ness on it. There was an Earthbound movie, or Earthbound reference in the FNAF movie, y'all. It was, whoo, cameo wise, like that. That's the fan service I think this movie did an amazing job with. But in every other area, I just feel like, in terms of adapting the games, it just didn't do a good job. And even in terms of like adapting the games element, like people say like this movie was very faithful, but it was mainly faithful to the lore. It wasn't actually faithful to how the games work, because if you remember, how the games work is you do a lot of stuff with the cameras. You like watch the cameras to make sure the animatronics don't come after you, and a big part of the games is just making sure the animatronics don't like creep up on you. But we only get like one or two scenes of that, so really it's not that faithful to the games. It mainly just focuses on like twisting the lore. And yeah, that's a detail a lot of people missed. It's a detail a lot of people missed. It was crazy. And I think it makes sense. Like, there's a lot of people who are going to be saying, "Oh, Matt Pat cringe," but he makes a lot of sense to be in the movie, because Matt Pat he kind of was a big part in putting FNAF on the map. He was a big part of this franchise. He deserved that cameo, and same with Corey. Same with them. And yeah, Freddy doesn't really act like the Freddy from the games. He doesn't do his laugh. He doesn't do that iconic kill where his eyes are flashing and the power goes out. Like, Freddy did not act like Freddy from the games. The others, I think, were okay, but like, yeah, that's what I mean when I say the movie was very off in terms of how it adapted elements from the games. It mainly focuses on like, building stuff around the specific lore. So, is there anything else? Anything else I'm forgetting? I feel like there's maybe something I'm forgetting, but honestly, it's because the movie is very forgettable outside those highlight moments. Like, it's kind of a bit of a boring movie, and I don't blame critics for slamming it because not much happens in the movie. Again, with the Mario movie, as fast-paced as that movie is, stuff is happening, stuff that is fitting to the Mario games. So that's why I think that movie didn't deserve to be as slammed as hard. But with this, it's not quite the case. And even with Sonic, same logic there. Now, Sonic has its own issues, but yeah. I just think they handle being movies much better. The Talene says, shame Markiplier didn't make it. Which, yeah, Markiplier, I would have loved to see him. He also deserved the cameo. He would have been great. And yeah, Living Tombstone. I almost forgot Living Tombstone. Living Tombstone especially was insane to hear. I did not think they were going to do it. But it makes sense when you realize like that original Living Tombstone FNAF song has almost 500 million views. And it's based, the Living Tombstone FNAF songs have always been the closest thing that series has to like really interesting music. Because like the actual music, quote unquote music from the games is like that Breath of the Wild style ambience. So it makes a lot of sense that they called up Living Tombstone. It's actually kind of wild. Hey Jamerson, I see your Forgo retweets. I'm gonna need you to calm down, my boy. Doing things to me. Oh my goodness. The Talene says loved the Living Tombstone chat. Yeah, I think it's really cool they're in there. Like again, that's another thing people probably listen to, and it's like, what is this like early 2010s dubstep song doing here at the end of this horror movie? This makes no sense, but like if you know, you know. And he said, "Hear me out." You don't need to say "hear me out." I know, bro. I know. Your is that one. I know, bro. You don't gotta explain yourself. I'm just saying, don't. You can't be wilding this late. And yeah, that's obviously better than the generic pop track, which the Mario movie loved. But at least the Mario movie used freaking 80s songs, so I guess that's something. My guess is critics who didn't recognize the Living Tombstone track, they probably thought that was like a generic, like dubstep-y, trendy track. That's probably what made them even more mad. But no, I think that was actually a cool ad. I do find it weird that the credits overall are like so short. Like it's basically only that song and then like one other song, so it's kind of weird. And yeah, Foxy's humming was in there too. Which makes it all the weirder that we don't hear Freddy's iconic laugh or he doesn't do his iconic jump scare. Like they have some good of the iconic game elements in there, but there's a few that are just missing that are like really weird. All right, so I guess that's like the key things I wanted to say. And yeah, overall mixed on the film. I wouldn't even say I'm personally mixed. Overall, I just think the film was underwhelming. It's not the worst movie I've seen in my life, but it's definitely a very underwhelming film and I can understand why the critics were getting on it. Like there is not much to this movie like besides like a few things like the cool cameos and few cool moments with the animatronics. This movie just doesn't have that much substance. It's not like with the Mario movie where the Mario movie just had buckets of eye candy and really cool animated scenes on top of the fan service, you know? Before I end my talk on this movie though, I want to read a little something. So what I did was I was talking with a friend and I wrote a little like soft rewrite to what I think the movie could have done to be a little bit better. So I do want to read that before we end off to the FNAF discussion. And I want to hear what y'all think. If that would be better, if there's something else they still needed to fix. The Talene says, I do wonder what they're going to do for the sequel. I think FNAF 2 is the logical next one. Which, yeah, this movie is definitely going to get sequels. They'll probably do like one based on FNAF 2. Maybe they'll take elements from Sister Location. Maybe they'll do one on FNAF 3 where like Afton comes back in full. Like they definitely have a lot of material to work with for sequels. But I don't know if I'll be too excited for those. Because again, those will dive into the later games as they go along. And I don't know if the movies will be as good considering how this first one turned out. But I'm open-minded. I'm an open-minded man. They could turn it around, but I'm not too hopeful for it. And yeah, we surprisingly didn't get much on the puppet too, which was crazy, because like the puppet is also a key thing to the lore. But again, he is a bit of a FNAF 2 thing, so I can understand if they're saving him, but still. I just think there was probably a better way they could have done this movie. Which gets into my little outline I want to read, so let me read that. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. Yeah, there's all sorts of other stuff I could nitpick, but I'm not going to nitpick. I think you guys get the gist of my thoughts on the film. He still could be the Talene. The puppet could still be Garrett for all we know because he's the sixth child in this universe. So that's it. There well still could be him. Alright, so my little rewrite idea I came up with. So, in terms of Vanessa and how they could have done her character better, a big thing I thought they were going to do with the direction of her character is I thought maybe they were going to have her be sort of like the new Bite of 87 victim, like, or that infamous Bite. One of them, I know there's like two now in the universe, but like whatever. Bite of 87, the iconic one or whatever, the Markiplier meme one. What I thought they were going to do is I thought they were going to have her be like someone who's witnessed that, since she already knew about stuff such as the spring locks. I think that would have been very interesting. And how I think that could have helped a rewrite is this. So I said they should have had it to where Vanessa caused that bite to happen, the Bite of 87 or something like it. And say, for example, it killed this sister or a brother, which just absolutely drove William Afton mad. So it gives us a bit of a motivation to why he slowly started to lose his mind. Because in this film, as is, we don't have a motivation for why Afton did all this. He just kind of did it because, you know, bad guy. But I think having it go this way could have been a way to give Afton like some sort of like motivation to how he lost his mind. But anyway, so he's ticked off at Vanessa, but you know, he could take out Vanessa, but he doesn't really want to because that's obviously his daughter. So how this makes him go mad is he decides, you know what, I'm going to take it out on other kids. And that's what leads to what ends up happening to the other kids. And she deep down knows that because, you know, she's still guilty about what happened with the spring lots. So that's what happened. She's like wary of revealing the fact that she potentially caused what happened to these 5 missing children. So that's why she kind of keeps a close watch on the place. And meanwhile, you know, while she thinks she's keeping Afton in the dark, Afton noticed that there was one other witness to what happened. So that's what leads him to taking Mike's brother, and that's what makes him become the puppet, because we never get a reason to why Afton even goes after Garrett. Like, why the heck did he go after this specific kid? We never get any reason. And I would have just written it, oh, simple. He was a witness, so he was like, oh, you gotta go. So later down the road, Vanessa pieces this together in the connection to Mike and tries to like warn him how dangerous Afton is, but obviously Afton slowly starts piecing that together. So that's what obviously makes him give him the job to go to Freddy's in the first place, because he knows dang well that these animatronics are dangerous and they are menaces to society. But he gives the job to Mike anyway because he thinks that they're going to finish Mike, as to where in the movie we don't really even know how confident he was in how dangerous the animatronics was, because again, we see clear as day that the animatronics are not that dangerous. So I think, you know, what they should have done is make the animatronics more dangerous, make it clear that Afton knows how dangerous they are, but he doesn't exactly have any control over them. He just knows how dangerous they are, and he doesn't think that what he did is going to come back to bite him, but eventually it will, like it does in the final movie. But just build that up more, you know? But yeah, because of the fact Mike keeps surviving the nights with the animatronics, that's what makes Afton snack and realize, okay, I need to take care of this kid myself. So that's what makes him suit up and go into final boss mode. So there's build up for it, you know? Like, instead of him like just going in there for literally no reason, like he shows up at the end for no reason to fight Mike. In my version, like, there'd be build up to it. Like, the reason why he goes in there is because he knows that Mike is going to keep surviving nights with these animatronics. And he was hoping they'd take him out for him so he wouldn't have to get his hands dirty. But now he realizes, okay, this guy, he's going to expose what I did, so I need to get my hands dirty. So that's going to make him suit up into the Spring Bonnie suit. Vanessa's going to try to warn him, maybe even get backup, but then the Spring Bonnie is going to take out everyone, and he's going to get really close. But boom, Spring Lock scene happens, and that's a much better script, I think. And yeah, he's mostly sleeping on the nights, which is obviously because they want to do the whole dream sequence thing. But I feel like, you only needed like 2 or 3 nights for that, and you could have done them during, like, I don't know, the day or something. Like, have them be daydreams. Having him sleeping during the actual nights is crazy, because the whole point of the games is you surviving the actual nights. Like, the night is when these animatronics are at their most dangerous. So the fact that he's sleeping and they're not targeting him instantly is crazy to me. That's a big part of why I think this movie is so boring. But yeah, I don't know where 𝘀𝘁𝗿 went. I don't know if he's still here. If you're still here, 𝘀𝘁𝗿, I do appreciate you for coming out to the stream. I'm sorry if I'm ranting. But yeah, those are just my thoughts in terms of the movie. And yeah, we did need more flashbacks to the pizzeria at its prime. That's another thing. I think the movie overall should have just been longer. Apparently, it's rumored this movie had a longer cut, which, if that's true, I think we needed it, because, like, we needed to see a bit more of some of these places. And yeah, we see glimpses of the pizzeria at its prime, but never like a full scene with it, which I think is like a huge mistake. And also the child custody subplot was also dumb, I should add. Like, that's obviously an element to put pressure on Mike to keep a job and to obviously keep his sister, but like, I feel like it didn't add much in the end. I do like the child character. I think she's a nice motivation for him to keep this job, and to be a thing that softens up the animatronics, maybe, to not killing Mike. But otherwise, I don't think we needed some of that extra fluff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else about the movie I'm forgetting? Because I think that's literally all I wanted to say. I wanted to give my impressions on the movie. I wanted to say my little rewrite idea. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, did they reference Sparky the dog? I didn't know that. That's true. That's really cool. Again, there's probably like all sorts of little Easter eggs that I missed with this movie. It's like, it's gonna be like the Mario movie, where I'm gonna find like an Easter egg video, and there's gonna be like a bunch of Easter eggs like I blinked and I missed. So that much I'm looking forward to. But just overall, I don't see myself like coming back to this movie as much, because there's no real scene that's like super hype. Like, there's just like, in terms of like interpreting the lore, there's just like fan versions of this stuff that I think is better. And yeah, I think I know the gist of that hoax. It's very interesting, but otherwise, I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I rambled about the FNAF movie. We talked about Mario and Sonic. I gave an update on the channel. So I think we are done for tonight. So, any last thoughts on any of the topics we talked about? FNAF movie, Mario and Sonic, the channel update, anything else you guys want to know before I close out the stream? Talene says, I'm glad I came in just in time. Yeah, man, you came here just in time, because I took a minute to start this, so you managed to come here in time. really, I don't know what else I could really add. This is pretty much all I thought to talk about tonight. Oh yeah, if you did miss that channel update to 𝘀𝘁𝗿𝗄, basically what I said during that is that I'm taking my time with beating Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars, so that's why it'll take a minute for me to get an upload out, because I'm really focusing on completing those games so I can do reviews on those games. That, and I'm putting a lot of full-time power into this other project I'm doing, so that's the reason why I might be MIA for a minute. But other than that, appreciate you coming out to 𝘀𝘁𝗍. Appreciate you coming out, Jamerson, Mygo, TyStar. I really appreciate y'all for coming out. Gani too. And Mama Luigi. All you guys. Really appreciate y'all coming out to these streams. Always a pleasure. But yeah, I'm going to end it here and go to bed. So this has been 𝘀𝘀𝗍, and I'm out. Thank y'all for coming out. See y'all on Twitter and all the other places I be lurking about. Peace.